Alright, so I've made a video in a couple weeks, and busy doing shit. So, if any of you are looking for a video, I apologize. Not that I really give a shit. I'll make a video when I feel like it. But, going bald, I think it's getting worse, and I haven't shaved my head in a while, so it looks like shit. So, I bought an Xbox 360, and the reason why is actually kind of complicated. There were some games I've played for Xbox that I never actually owned myself. I think I've mentioned this before, but growing up in group homes, we'd grab our consoles and all have a group play where we'd all take turns playing together. And I was always more Sega, Nintendo sort of type thing. I just past 2 years ago bought my first PlayStation 2 and 3. Things I didn't own growing up. Because there were games I wanted to play for it. I still don't have really a lot of games for either, so I haven't really played them much. My PS3, I've played maybe a total of, I don't know, like 16, maybe 40 hours in the past 2 years I've had it. And that's in part for two reasons. One, the PowerA controller I bought for it fucking sucks. So in Lollipop Chainsaw, for example, when you have to hold down one of the shoulder buttons, even as you're holding it down, it'll stop registering that you're holding it. So that really fucking sucks. And it just keeps overheating. So there's that. I really want to play more Batman, but it just keeps fucking overheating, so I'm not going to even bother. And then there were some games for the Nintendo Wii, and my biggest problem with the Wii was if you play games like Brawl, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and shit like that Nintendo came out with, there was usually an option to hold the controller sideways, or horizontal, whatever the fuck they want to call it, and use the D-pad to move, and then the buttons to jump and shit, and minor motion controls, like in Donkey Kong. Or you can plug in the nunchuck controller and move with the thumbstick, and that gave you 2 extra buttons on the shoulder as well. There wasn't really many motion controls in Donkey Kong Country Returns, aside from shaking it to ground pound and shit. But it was very limited in terms of some of the other games. The problem then comes with third party, because almost every third party developer never took control of the Wii Pro controller or horizontal or anything. It's you have to use motion controls. And so one of the games that I bought for the 360 that I had originally owned for the Wii was this one. So this is the Scholarship Edition of Bully. Yes, I have played it for the PS2, and I owned it for the Wii. I didn't own it for the PS2, someone else did. But what's really weird about this is when you open it, instead of the game being here, it's here for some reason. So this was brand new for like 16 bucks. The other thing I bought new was a hard drive caddy. It's an off-brand one from China. Here's the top part. And so I gotta buy an SSD. But the 360 I bought was this one. This is the E model. It looks like an Xbox One. It's got a sticker here that I need to remove. I took it apart and cleaned it. It's covered in bug shit. If you follow me on Twitter at MortalsDemise13, I took a couple pictures of it. The only problem I can notice with it is the 2 USB ports here. I don't know if this is going to show properly. But they look completely fucking useless because the metal part here is bent outwards. And when I took it apart, yeah, it's pretty bad. But, you know, like, unlike some of them I found, it actually has the side door, so there's that. And you basically put the SSD in this after formatting it to FAT32, and it goes in like that, and then you take it out like that. So that's pretty cool. So it didn't come with a power supply, and it didn't come with a controller. Both of those are coming separately sometime this week, so I'll make a follow-up video to this. And I'll let you guys know if it works at all, because honestly I don't know if this actually works. Yeah, I bought a console not knowing if it works. It was $35 for the console, in parts, or not working, because apparently it has a parental lock but works perfectly fine. Here's the problem I have with eBay, and this wasn't the case with the PS3 that I bought for parts are not working, because they actually showed it working, but it had, not developer mode, I forget the name of it. I showed it on my YouTube, if you go back and watch me fix that PS3. But basically, it was the mode where you go to, like, GameStop or Best Buy and use the console. So it had to have the what the fuck, the word I'm looking for now, I can't speak. The commercial firmware. So I had to flash a unofficial firmware, update it to the official firmware, and so that was a pain in my ass. But at least it came with a power supply. The problem I have is the guy who sold me this fucking thing had the power supply, but sold it for an extra $20, and he sold it separately, and someone fucking bought it. So what that means is he's a fucking idiot, because I have no way of knowing if you're a piece of shit or not if you sell me something that I can't test because I don't have a power supply. And I think that's one of the problems I have with people selling electronics and games and shit on eBay, is there's no way of knowing if it works if you don't post a fucking picture of it working. Like, if you say in the description it works, that's not enough. I need to at least see a picture of it working, especially if you're not going to ship it with a fucking power supply. Worst case scenario, I'm out $35 though, so it's not like I spent like $150. But that seems to be a common issue, is people selling shit on eBay just expect you to take their word on the description. Apparently they don't know how to describe shit properly, because I would not classify this as in good condition when it's got dead bug carcasses in it, which I cleaned out, by the way, the first thing I did. And just the front PCB right below here, and a couple of the other PCBs, not the actual motherboard itself, are just covered in bug shit. So I'm hoping that doesn't short anything out. Otherwise, I'm going to have to replace those PCBs, which is going to cost me more than $35 at that point. I mean, I've already spent like $75 on this fucking thing, which $75 isn't that bad for Xbox 360E. So the controller I bought in used but like new condition. It should be here today. And I should have the power supply by Friday. So I think there's a 30-day period in which I can tell eBay, hey, I got fucking screwed, because there's no returns on that. There's no returns on a lot of things on eBay. The other problem I have with eBay is if you physically have something, don't just download a picture off fucking Google or whatever fucking web browser you use. I mean, search engine you use. Excuse me. Because if you own it, just post a picture. Everyone has a fucking smartphone. Just take a picture, open up the app, put the picture on. It's not that fucking difficult. I won't even buy anything off eBay if it's got, just a fucking downloaded image. I'm probably missing out on a lot of good price shit, but that's just the way I am. I'm not looking to buy something if I can't actually physically see it, at least. I am willing to take chances if you've got like good reviews, even though I know that can be faked. And I'm really hoping this works, and all I have to do is call up Microsoft with the serial number and get the parental lock removed. If the parental lock is only for M games, then I might be able to test Bully at least. But yeah, it's in somewhat good condition. It's missing one of the rubber stubs here for the feet, right on this corner where my finger is. You can't really see it, it's black. You can see it up here, actually, where it's got like a rubber foot. But one of the things I'm gonna try to do, and I'm gonna look into, is JTAG modifying, or whatever the fuck it's called, so I can completely backwards compatible this. Because if we go into my documents here, and we go into my missing game list, so I put together a list of all the games that I owned but my dad got rid of. Or games that I want to pick up, and I kind of had to make excuses to even justify buying anything from Xbox, honestly, because almost all of them are third parties that you can get on PlayStation, and there are very few things that are exclusive that I want to, play on Xbox, unfortunately. I might not even pick up the second Metroid, because apparently they're going to be re-releasing the Metroid Prime trilogy on the Switch. If they do that, I'll just pick up that on the Switch because I can't find it at all for the Wii that's in a reasonable price. And a big portion of that is you can buy it digital for like $30. So I'm not buying it used for $80, and I'm not buying it new for a couple thousand. That's another problem with eBay. People are just wanting unreasonable amounts of money for shit. There have been times I've found used games for like $1,000 or more, and it's like, what the fuck do you think you are? This isn't rare. Batman Arkham Origins I was gonna pick up for the 360 to see if it's any different, but I bought the new Walmart version with all the DLC for like $25 for PS3, and the same version for Xbox 360 is fucking $80, which is $20 more than new. So the problem with the Wii U is, as you can see, I already own Gianna Sisters Twisted Dreams, which I'm gonna buy for the Switch because it comes with all the DLC and shit. I have Super Mario 3D World. I have Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. I have 5 games total right now, so the Wii U only had 5, 6, 7, about 7 or 8 good games. And I have Bayonetta 1 and 2. I'll pick up the third one for the Switch. I'm not buying the 1 and 2 for the Switch because you only get 1, and then 2 is downloaded, which is fucking dumb. But the Wii U is backwards compatible, so all these right here will be making it worth it. Like I said, if the trilogy is available, I won't pick up Metroid Prime for the Wii either. But the thing I'm looking at now is the Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 are supposedly going to be released on the Switch. So, if that happens, that's going to be fun. It's a good list of games I want for the Switch. Some of them, I could get for the Wii U, but I'm not going to because you get more out of... and the PS1 doesn't really have any games that I want to play. PS2, very little. I wasn't really that big into the PS2, but you can kind of see a trend here of the games I like to buy, which is basically first-person shooters, action-adventure, fighting games, and pretty much it. Just games that you can play over and over and never get bored with are basically what I'm into. So yeah, if you're the type of person who likes more types of games than me, you'll probably have a bigger list. I actually own this game right now for the PS3, but I'm going to buy it again for the PS4. As you can see, I'm going to get the whole Resident Evil because it's all available for the PS4, so I'm just going to get it all for the PS4. But here we have the original Xbox. So these stars here, there's actually a ledger which equal backwards compatible. So I have the 360, and these are the games I have to pick up for the 360. As you can also notice, I have literally every version of Soul Calibur that exists so far on my list. That was always something I did where I bought every version of that game because I just love the game so fucking much. It literally is my favorite game to play. I've probably played when I owned it for the GameCube. I own it for the PS2 right now, Soul Calibur 2. But even the PS2 one I've already played over like 10 times. When I had it for the GameCube, I played that about 20 times before I lost it because my dad sold all my shit. But as you can see here, the only games that aren't backwards compatible are Soul Calibur 2 and Destroy All Humans 2. And here's where I'm going to give Microsoft shit, because they made the first one backwards compatible, but not the second one and not the third one. Also, all the games I want to buy aren't backwards compatible. For the 360, I mean. So what that basically means is I bought a 360, because you can't play these backwards compatible wise. So why not have another console? But 3 out of 5 of the games for the original Xbox are backwards compatible, so I can play them on my 360. But if I modify it, I might be able to play the other 2. And the reason why I'm even considering that... how long has this video been made? I don't know. We're at 60 minutes, not that bad. The reason why I'm even considering that is because, let's be honest, the original Xbox fucking sucks. The first problem is the clock capacitor just fucking leaks and fucking ruins the motherboard. And on the newest Xbox, you can't even remove it. You have to replace it, or else it won't boot. And then on top of that, like, all the capacitors just have to be fucking replaced. And I'm not really looking forward to spending that kind of money to get someone else to do something like that. Because let's face facts, I don't know how to solder. It's something I want to learn, but I'm not going to take the time to learn how to solder and then my first project be to replace all the capacitors on a fucking Xbox. It's just not something I'm comfortable doing. And it's not something I even want to do. I would much rather take a $35 360 and mod it, so that way I can just put some software on it and remove the blacklist of games, so I can just have a fully backwards compatible Xbox 360. The fact of the matter is, like I said, only 2 games I have to worry about anyways, so I'm pretty sure because the first one plays well, I shouldn't have a problem with the second one. But I don't know about Soul Calibur 2. That's kind of the problem, is they didn't do backwards compatibility like Sony did, where they did an emulator, or like Nintendo, where they just tried their best to... So the GameCube and the Wii were like almost the same architecture. It was just slightly more powerful in the Wii, so it was nothing for them to make that backwards compatible. The Wii U and the Wii basically have the same architecture. It's just, again, more powerful in the Wii U. So it was nothing to make it backwards compatible. But you're using less of the processor in Wii mode. So it's kind of emulation, but really not. It's weird the way Nintendo does it. But the fact is, I can put any PS1 game in my PS3 Slim, and it'll fucking work. With Xbox, you have to download them. Which is one of the reasons why I am getting an SSD. And I'm not really thrilled about that, but hey, whatever. But yeah, I'll make a follow-up video to this, and I'll let you guys know if my 360 actually works or not. I'm really hoping it does, because, again, I paid $35 for this, and, it's actually not that bad. It was dirty, much dirtier than this. It wasn't that dusty. It was just basically just kind of grimy. So, isopropyl alcohol and shit. Air hosed it with the compressor. But that's going to be the video. I'll follow up later on this week. And I'll see you guys in that video.